Yo, good morning, everyone, and welcome to the morning market report, guys. We've got green bubbles today. We got a little bit of data that came in, may have been better than expected. We got that data that came in, and then also revisions that came in. On top of that, the port strikes are over, I believe, until January. I think they have to have a better agreement by January 2025, which would put us back in the quarter one. So we're looking at that. Of course, that economic data right there, guys, all this stuff coming in this morning did also shift these. Look at that. The chance of a 25 basis point rate cut coming in November on the 7th is now just peaked out up there at about 90%, guys. We're going to be looking at that and also looking at what's going on right now with this doji candle. Why is there uncertainty on Bitcoin right now? Why is it not going up? Markets are in the green right now, and Bitcoin needs to get its butt in gear. We're going to be looking at that a lot more, guys, today on the Morning Market Report. Let's get it. Class is in session. Welcome to the Morning Market Report, guys. This is the show where we bring you the news, the markets, the economic data, and the charts, the TA, all that good stuff. Put it all together, give you a better understanding of the market so that you can have knowledge, because knowledge is profit here at the Academy. But I don't do the show by myself. I've got a great team. Let's go ahead and bring them up. It is the OC guy. It is the Trade Fly. What's up, fellas? How you guys doing?
What is going on, guys? It is another beautiful day, and hey, trading is open, baby. Let's go. We did talk
Let's
a little bit
go.
about that last night on the nightcap. We're like, hey, I see a descending triangle. Now, I will say, pressure usually kind of works to the downside with a descending triangle, but what I was saying that was contrary to what I was seeing on the formation was the RSI was just pumping. It was just going up and right. It was at like a 45-degree angle, which didn't quite align with what I was seeing in the formation. So that kind of gave me that uncertainty. I was like, hey, I drew a line. I was like, look for a breakout, look to see if we get a retest. We got that OC retest on the smaller time frames, and here we are, man. Price is moving in a positive direction. I like to see it. So that being said, I want to give some shout outs in the chat. Let me go ahead and get over to the chat. And I see Kyle Fields with a yo. Buck GM, what's going on, my dude? Max H is in the chat. He was there last night. I think Buck and Max H were in the chat last night. So thank you guys very much. We appreciate you. Ada Ace is in the house. How you doing? Harp's in the house. BC Port Court, my dude. You guys are doing big things on the morning show. Crypto Chef, how you doing? Alexandra G, the best bot in the house. Clay, the great Hootie Who. What's up, my guy? Let's scroll down, see who we got. We got Florence in the chat. How you doing? Wick 589. That is our steady crew right there, man.
I know.
The Wick fam. The Wick fam. They're always in the chat. Love to see it. Love to see it. And Jim Kramer's in the house. Oh, he said bearish. You know what that means? We are bullish, baby. Up and away. Let's go. Crux of Crypto. How you doing? And Bob, how you doing? Good morning. Let's get it. OC guy. Say your intro, baby. Good luck following.
Thank you so much, guys. Welcome to the Piper Academy today. It's a great day, very busy day, nonetheless. But guess what? It's Friday, right? Am I right? Yes, it's Friday.
It's Friday. Let's go. Friday, baby.
Absolutely. So maybe it might be the last push of the week before we get a little bit of a vacation. I'm going to Cozumel this. I'm leaving here at 11 p.m. So I'm gonna be traveling the whole night, and then getting to Cozumel by tomorrow morning. And then tomorrow I got a wedding, so it's gonna be a partying weekend for me. So I'm ready for it. I don't know if you guys are.
You're going to have to do that trip again in March, because Tradefly and I will be pulling up on a ship. We're on a boat in March. Yeah, we expect to see you there, Mr. OC. Since you're not on the cruise with us, you better be at the cruise port at least for us to get link up.
Yes.
So. All right.
Absolutely.
Okay, let's go get into the news and let's run through this real quick so we can get over to the charts, because we should have some good moving charts today, and it's not moving the way that it should be with the data. So I'm trying to figure out still right now, where's the uncertainty still sitting at? We're going to take a look at that, but let's jump into the news. right now, guys. And this is the news brought to you by Decrypted.tax, the trusted tax official for the Piper Academy. Guys, see Ernest over there. He'll give you a nice discount using the link below, and you get a free consultation if you have any questions about your taxes on your crypto and any other taxes. The guy's brilliant. He's brilliant. Let's go ahead and take a look here, guys. Sitting at 41 on neutral right now on the Fear and Greed Index. I think that we'll probably be moving more into this neutral higher levels here if we get a pump today. If not, expect to slide back into fear. It's just how it works. Looking at the bubbles here for the day, guys, like I showed you, looking green. FTT. Someone said, why is FTT pumping? That's a great question. It does this every now and then a bunch of liquidity pumps in. The last time this happened, they were talking that this was because of FTX trying to pump liquidity in so that they could pull it all back out. So that's what they said last time. We'll have to take a look at that. Let's see here. Bitcoin currently sitting at about 61,692. Let's just under 61.7, up 2.4% on the daily, outperforming Ethereum. That is up 1.7, sitting at 2384. We'll call it 2400. We'll give it a round up. Why not kick it a little bit of love at least, since nobody else is. Solana, that Soul Train, moving 3.6% up to 141 right now. XRP up 0.95% after that 10.7% drop for the week there. Not too shabby after all that news that came out on XRP to at least be up almost 1% on the daily. Doge is at 4.8%, Tron up 2.2%, and rounding out the top 10 is Toncoin at 2.3%, sliding just beneath that. It's Cardano up 4.3%, trying to make its way back into the top 10. Any big movers? Shiba Inu up 10.6% there. Anything else? BitTensor's up 8.9, Render's up 10.6. Where's Caspa? Up 4.3. It is sitting at number 27, trying to hold that 15-cent spot there. Let's jump into the economic calendar. Talk about what happened here. See, what had happened was we had non-farm payrolls, guys. And this is the one that I was talking to you guys about, that it needed to come in at like 160, 170,000 because it typically gets revised downward about 30 to 40,000. You guys remember all that conversation? Well, looking here, forecasted was 130K. Consensus was 140K. Previously, it was 159. It wasn't actually. They revised it up, not down this time, guys. It got a revision to the upside, and then it still came in at 254K. Let's jump in here and take a look at this data and see what it tells us. U.S. economy added 254,000 jobs in September 2024, much higher than the upwardly revised 159,000 in August, and well above the forecast of 140K. It is the strongest job growth in 6 months and higher than the average monthly gain of 203K over the prior 12 months. Employment continued to trend up in food service and drinking places, 69,000 jobs. Healthcare, 45,000 jobs. Government, 31,000 jobs, both local and state, 16K and 13K. And social assistance, 27K, primarily in individual and family services, 21,000. And then construction, 25,000 jobs were added for construction. Employment declined by 7,000 jobs in manufacturing and was little changed in mining, quarrying, that's making rocks if you don't know, and oil and gas extraction, wholesale trade, retail trade, transportation, and warehousing. So some areas a little bit weaker than others, but for the most part, guys, this is a good revision of the jobs. We haven't seen anything this high since March of this year. That was when we peaked out on Bitcoin. So let's look at the unemployment rate. It actually was expected to be 4.2 to 4.3. Previously was 4.2. Came in 0.1% better than what it was. Let's go look at that. The unemployment rate in the United States fell to 4.1 in September 2024, the lowest in 3 months, down from 4.2% in the previous month. Surprising market expectations, which had forecasted that the rate would remain unchanged. The number of unemployed individuals decreased by 281,000 people to 6.8 million, while employment levels increased by 430,000. 161.8 million. Meanwhile, the labor force participation rate came in steady at 62.7, and the employment population ratio increased by 0.2% there. And that's all this data right here. You can see the participation rate and all that good stuff. We do have a Fed speak right now. That is Fed Williams. Next week, let's go ahead and talk about that real fast here. We've got a lot of Fed speaking on October 7th. Then we've got, let's see here. Next, lot of Feds talking next week. Nothing major on Tuesday. Wednesday, we get the FOMC minutes from the last FOMC meeting. Core inflation. The next one's going to be Thursday, October 10th, core inflation rate. I do have a question. I want to look up one thing here. I want to go to 1 on this. Let's go to the 1. Nope, sorry, the 3. And then that's going to give us only our highlighted stuff. And I want to see next month. Unemployment on November 1st. Okay, so we do still have one more non-farm payroll and one more unemployment coming in before the elections. That's going to be on November 4th. I was just curious as to if this was the last one that we were going to get. Wow. Guys, look at this. Right before the elections, non-farm payrolls right now, 254K. That was from this month. They're forecasting that it's going to be down to 180,000. That's a huge drop off, which means this 4.1 might not be 4.1 come November 1st. Just a little something to keep an eye on there, guys. Look at this. This is what I was showing you at the intro. This is the 25 basis point versus 50 basis point. There's now only a 10.4% chance of a 50 basis point rate cut in November. Let's take a look at December, see how that's looking. Wow. This was showing a 72% chance of 25 basis point, 26% chance of 50. And then a 1.8% chance that we'll see 75. So let's jump over here. Let's take a look at this. This is one cause for concern, in my opinion, because remember, this 10-year note yield is what dictates what the your loan rates are going to be for home loans, car loans, all that stuff, right? The 10-year note yield rises toward 4% after the job reports crushed expectations. The U.S. economy added 107,000 more jobs than it expected last month, according to the data. Furthermore, August job numbers were revised higher by 17,000 jobs. As the Fed pivot over, you can see we did get that big, huge shift from 50 basis points to 25 basis points because this 10-year yield, this is actually going to make things more expensive for Americans. Not the rate cuts. This is. If this is pumping like this, you're going to pay a lot more money for your home and car loans. And then we'll get into that one in a minute. I do want to come over here. U.S. September payrolls jump takes November 50 basis cut off the table. So U.S. job growth accelerated in September. We just talked about all that. Market reactions. ES1 extended 0.73% higher. Bonds, the yield benchmark on the U.S. 10-year rose to 3.934%. And the 2-year note rose to 3.8. The dollar index turned 0.6% higher. So we actually got some weird data off of this stuff this morning, guys, because you see, it actually pumped like the Dixie. It pumped the 10-year yield. It gave a little rally to Bitcoin, but we're not seeing a whole lot there. We're going to jump into those charts and take a look at how it's fighting to hold up right now. But TradeFly, why do you think that maybe this data coming out was a hopium softball throw to the people with everything going on with, all of the wipeout of Helene, all the stuff, the fear of what was going on with the port strikes? They were like, let's give them a little bit of hopium, revise these numbers. Do you think we're going to see these numbers get a big revision down over there on the in November? Right before the election? I mean, that would be weird too. Things are not matching up for me right now on this data. So what's your thoughts on this, TradeFly? I'd love to hear your input.
I think you answered your own question. You know what's coming. They're going to revise these numbers later on, and nobody's going to think twice about it. But yeah, you get your little interim, little shot of adrenaline. All right, things are looking good. We don't have the port strike to worry about anymore. That's gone. I think they might have just kicked that can down the road. But that being said, you get these numbers that are, a little bit higher than expected. But let's be honest. What did we see in terms of a revision recently? Almost 1 million jobs were off by their calculation, right? We saw a revision of almost 1 million over 2 quarters. So,
Yep.
I don't get tied around these numbers. I honestly don't. I don't think this is going to lead to a big move. I don't think this is a big catalyst for any real market movement. Yeah, we got a little positive momentum. That's cool, but like grand scheme of things, when we're looking at crypto and the move it just made, this is little. This was like a 1.5% move. So I yeah, I'm not getting too tied around it. I mean, look, what's kind of interesting though is the Dixie is moving to the upside, like you said, and Bitcoin is kind of following in the same direction, which is not typical. You don't see that parallel usually. Now, I will say that the Dixie is approaching an area of resistance, and we could see a rejection, which could theoretically lead to further upside for Bitcoin. So keep that in your back pocket. Not saying it's going to play out, but there's a little bit of hopium on our end in the crypto world, just based on that inverse correlation. So that's kind of what I'm looking at.
This morning, as soon as that data came out, I threw into our trade group that, hey, this data is bullish. Get your longs ready. So as soon as it happens. So if you guys want to join that, check out the link below for our Discord. And you guys can, here, I'll just drop it right here. Watch this. Bam. Discord. Nope, that's not the right one. That's the right one. I got it. I got buttons for this. Join the alumni, get access to all that and more.
You're gonna have to teach me that trick. I need that.
Oh, I got skills, baby. I got skills.
Yeah.
I don't have your soundboard. I don't have your soundboard. I don't have the #1 show on the Piper Academy channel, but I do have auto-populated buttons. So
it's a consensus pick. I don't know what to tell you, man. I don't vote. The people vote. What do you want from me?
That stuff that gets burnt on the bottom of the pan when you're making soup, you let it sit too long and it boils, it simmers too hot, and it bakes on the bottom. You're the cream of the crop, and I'm that burnt layer on the bottom of the pan. It's okay. I can deal with it.
Hey, man, if you have certain pans, that adds flavor, right? So
it does. If you get that, and then you throw a little bit of red wine in there, and you can get it all off. It's good. It's good. All right, let's jump into the Bitcoin chart. I know OC's got some trade stuff that he talked about yesterday. He dropped a lot of trades in the trade group yesterday. So let's jump over into this chart. Let's take a look at Bitcoin, see what we're seeing here, guys. I do want to show one thing before we hop off, before I hop off this chart, because there's something that I saw yesterday in TA 101 with the members that I'm going to be keeping a close eye on. But right now, guys, we did get that data this morning. You can see I got it on a 4-hour right now, but this yellow line is a daily. It doesn't stay current until it closes. So right there, if I move it over, you'll see price is literally bouncing, getting all of its support on that 50-day simple moving average. We did have the 100-day moving average as our resistance. As of right now, we have bounced above it. We have moved into a new candle. Guys, my target, I said I would tell you guys this in the description of the video today. My target, $63,600. Why? Because that's the 200-day, and that is the next key level of resistance that we have in play here. Coming in right there. Going to be watching that one closely. We do have, what else? Let me see here. Yeah, I'm going to go with that. I'm going to go with that level. I think that's a safe level to look at, is that 200-day. Let me see what the value area high is at. Yeah, value area high. If we do break that 200, value area high is sitting at about 64,700. So that's a good little run off of that 50-day moving average. I do want to come over here and show you what the charts were telling us. We had down here on the Oscillator Pro Plus, we had the uptrend that printed. I told you guys that money flow was starting to come back up. Really, those two right there and that ribbon turning right now into that light pink, that means it's getting ready to do, that's a transition color. You can see it right there. It's getting ready to go into the green. Last time we did that, we had a good move to the upside. Guys, I got to say, I think that if, as long as the markets, the overall TradFi market stays strong and nothing pulls down on selling pressure, I think that Bitcoin right now is poised to come up and retest the top of this channel, this rising wedge. You can see if I isolate this off, bring it in, there's the bottom on that, there's the top. I could see this happening. And if that happens, then we are close, because remember, if we look at the 5-day, we really have to break we have to close above 68,200 to create a high, to break this lower high levels, okay? So if we can get up there, and we hold that 200 as support, break above it, get that a little, I'm sure we'll get a rejection with that value area low. get that rejection off the value area low there, and then come up to break that level again, 68.2. That would put us inside the platinum pocket and would be a break of the trend. But right now, the trend is still downward. So I am looking for rejection again at that 200-day. That's about 63,600. So that's what I'm seeing there on the chart. Let's go ahead, kick it over to TradeFly. You got that heat map going for us, and we'll see what you're seeing on that level. And then we'll come back around, let OC wrap it up and show you what he was seeing yesterday. You're muted.
Check 1, check 2.
Yep, you're good.
That's weird. All right, cool. I didn't mute anything. So that being said, I was trying to ask you, what was your top side there when you're saying, hey, it can revisit that trend line? What was that level at? I'm curious of the price.
That trend line is, let me jump back over here. That trend line is going to be coming in right about 67,300.
Oh, that's high. Okay. Got
it.
Yep. All right, cool. Let's come back over to the liquidation heat map. All right, you see the hot spot. That's sitting at about 63K, just under 62,950. We are starting to get a little trend up and right. So that is, we'll say, within reason. But let's go ahead and look at the chart here. There's a little liquidity here. This is built up overnight. This is just based on the move that's happening right now. People kind of jumping into long positions, leveraged long positions, and probably having a stop loss right there. So that liquidity is building up right now. That makes sense. You got to move up and right to see liquidity starting to build underneath. But that could establish us in a range. So keep that in mind. Now, here's the issue. And this is what I was talking about kind of this morning on the intro is, hey, I noticed a trend down and right. All right. So kind of a descending triangle. But what gave me pause, and I talked about this last night, was the RSI was just going up, up, and up. And so, if I were to look at this and I saw this formation, I would expect a little bit more of a curvature down than what we got here. So I'd be looking for it to go down and then potentially up, where it just kept going up and right. And I was like, that gives me some pause. Like, I don't know that it's going to break out to the downside. I'm actually was looking out for a breakout to this side, right? And then we got the OC retest. If you go to a smaller time frame, you will see a certified retest where it breaks out, comes down, hits this trend line, and then takes off. So I gave you an upside target, right? This is why I give you guys little targets to look for. And I believe I even measured this out to about a 1.5% move. Let's see, 1.61, not so bad, right? And that's an easy little like scalp trade, intraday type trade. This one happened pretty quick, to be honest. This was between 2100 last night, my time, so about 9 p.m. Midnight for the East Coast Bubba's, and then up to this morning where we got the dynamic reactor. And this is, I talk about this dynamic reactor all the time, man. This thing is fire. You can see where it acts as support and resistance. We're clearly red right now, but it looks like we want to try to make a move to the upside, which is what Piper was talking about. But the RSI was that indicator for me, the prime oscillator, which is RSI based, right? That was the big indicator for me that like we had some potential here to make a move up and right. And I think that played out. So where are we now? Well, this is kind of that no-no zone. All right. We got the breakout. We got the move up and right. We got the test of area of resistance. Now we have to wait. We got to wait. Are we going to break this area of resistance? And then we look for that next move up. And then if we look for that next move up, then we try to find where's confluence, right? So we break out of this this area here where the dynamic reactor is, and now we're looking for that next leg up. But you got to wait for the breakout. At this point, this is not where you enter the trade because you have resistance and support, and you're right in the middle. Like there's no way for you to figure anything out unless you get multiple retests maybe of the dynamic reactor. If you get a second retest of the dynamic reactor and you start to see the RSI bend over, then you're saying, okay, maybe there's opportunity for a short, and we're kind of losing weakness with that second touch. But after that, is say we get a retest and you see this RSI just bombing away up and right still, then that gives you, maybe this might actually break, so we kind of wait. But what I would personally look for on a smaller time frame, you can probably go down to like a 15-minute or somewhere an hourly. If we break this area, then you're looking for that OC retest. What does that look like? It looks kind of like this, but you want to look for it on a smaller time frame. The 4 hour is a little bit long of a time frame if you're trying to scalp or an intraday. but then you'll look for that move up and right. Where's confluence? Right here. All right, so you got the 50 SMA on the 4-hour, and then you have this trend line that is intersecting, right? So that is telling you, hey, we have a potential area of resistance. That area of resistance is going to sit at about 63.5, it might go a little bit lower, say 63.3 in that area. So that would be the next move, right? That would be the next incremental move that I would look for on its way up, and that would be about a 1.89% move. So here we are again, looking at little like scalp trades. There's opportunities here for the taking. Now, for me personally, when I look at a scalp trade like this with a very small move of a 1 to 2% move, I'm typically using, a decent amount of capital, but low leverage, right? Probably about 5x at the most. Now, you degens, I know a lot of you are wild and you do the opposite. You use low amounts of capital with very high amounts of leverage. To each their own, just not my style or the way I like to do it personally. So that's kind of what I'm looking at on Bitcoin in the very short term, near term. If we zoom out a little bit, let's look at the daily. Let's see what we're looking at here. Give you guys some numbers. So this is kind of my big thing right now. Is this point of control? We've had so much interaction with the point of control that's really our line in the sand. And now what is coming down to intersect the point of control? You have the 200 SMA on the daily. Significant, significant, significant. Okay, mark that down. You have the 200 SMA, and it's going to cross this point of control. What does that mean? Well, that means that there is a huge area of resistance. So that I would look for, you could, not financial advice, you could almost look for a rejection there. I'm not going to say it's guaranteed, but it's a high likelihood that you're going to get price action, that initial rejection before it can ultimately break through. And that's a lot of times the move that I'll look for. 1%, 1.5%, where price comes up, gets that initial rejection, and then it goes up for the retest. And then we kind of look to see, hey, where are we going to go from here? Where's Bitcoin price action going after that interaction with that significant area of resistance or support, in this case, resistance, right? So that is a key area for you to look at. Where is that at? That's at 63,000 all the way up to about 63.5. So where did that correlate to the 4-hour? So you start putting this all together, right? You got different time frames kind of singing to the same sheet of music. Now that was at 63.4. So that's right in the middle of that area, adding what we call confluence. Okay, so I would look for a rejection here in this area if we do ultimately make that move up. And then, of course, we have my little line in the sand at about 65.1. We'll see how that goes. But really, that's your interim levels to look for in the shorter time frames. If we do ultimately break down, of course, we have this area that we were talking about probably a week ago on the nightcap, saying that this is an area with confluence where you could see support. We got that support, but that move is now played out. All right, so continue to monitor this level if it pulls back to see if it holds up as support. But look what's starting to happen on the RSI or the prime oscillator. Okay, this is now starting to bend up, right? And if you go down here, you're seeing, okay, cool. If this starts to reset and bend up, that's good. This is adding to the ability or, the perception that this area of support can hold up again if we come back for a retest. So look for that. That's at about 60,300 to about 61.2. Unfortunately, there is a little bit of a range there. So, if you're looking for a scalp trade on a very small time frame, then that'll be hard because there's a range there, obviously, between the two, the dynamic reactor, the 50, and the value area low on the daily. All right. So again, significant area for you to look at. What if it continues to pull back? Well, I talked about this area at 58. Right here, I have an alert. If it comes down here, I'm definitely looking for price action. We did have confluence there at about that target range as well at about 58K. So there is a bunch of levels for you guys to look at. And I kind of broke down both the smaller time frames as well as the larger time frames to give you guys kind of an idea of significant areas that you can look at.
Awesome. Let's jump over. OC, can you pull up the DXY before you look at your Bitcoin trade? And let's keep that one short. Just give an update on your trade setup that you dropped yesterday. But I want to get into some alts, and I want to talk about oil today, and I also want to talk about some defense contract stocks. So let's try to get through all that. But I do definitely want to take a look at oil today because it or the Dixie, I should say. But then I'll come back and I'll look at oil. So.
Absolutely. So let's take a look at a couple of things in here in the Dixie. Let's go to the daily because it seems like we have a huge move to the upside here. Right there, we have a basically a breakout out of a Wyckoff V-shaped recovery or a Wyckoff pattern here. You can also see maybe that this was a downward range, whatever you were looking at. We had a breakout retesting here, very beautiful. I was looking at this trend line, and we had a breakout going for the retest. I was expecting this retest to be a little more dramatic, but what happened? We have the actual retest right here. We just ranged for a little bit, and finally we broke previous highs. They're basically taking us all the way to the top right here to the dynamic reactor. All right, this is looking very nice, but still we're not out of the water. Seems like, and we're not for sure yet. We don't know it yet for sure. Seems like we are running out of fuel, right? So we are running out of fuel. We're very close to tops in here. If I draw a line in here, a horizontal line, right where we are right now, we can see that that area of this dash line, we usually roll over, right? So this is a dangerous area. This is where we can also be looking for something like this to play out. This is a goose hit, right? But the important part in here is that we need to break through the dynamic reactor for me to consider a change of trend once again. I would say that maybe we can start doing some ranging here. Just in the meantime, we can to retract and then at the flip of the ribbon, do a breakout and at this point make a bullish pennant. Another thing that we could be doing here it is for the positive analysis will be a down range here, creating a bull flag, having a little bit steeper flip of the ribbon all the way down here, and then breaking to the dynamic reactor. We're gonna be looking for either the breakout here or the retest for the upside. But right now, we are in a dangerous zone on DXI. Piper, do you want me to keep going to take a look at Bitcoin and the other altcoins that I gave a shout out yesterday, or would you like to take on oil and then I take the rest of them?
Yeah, let's jump over. Let's take a look at this oil. This is the CL1 exclamation points, light crude oil futures. Okay, and last night on TA 101, Blackie Chan and I were talking about this because we were sitting here at a pretty decent level. We had this previous falling wedge here. You can see we did break out of it. We had a smart target that Chart Prime said this is your bottom, and guess what? That was the bottom. Shout out to Chart Prime. Coming back up in now, guys. We got re-supported back on this wedge bottom again, and then we pumped up and got a nice little retest here, OC retest, right there on top of that wedge. What we were talking about yesterday, because about that time that we were looking at it was right here on this line, right? I said this might be a good spot the way that the True 7's coming up. Money flow was starting to come back in. Volume was coming back in. Everything was looking pretty decent here, especially when you look at the oscillator ribbon. And I said a good target on this on a quick futures pull would be $76. Possibly up to that 200 that would be back here in line with the previous highs. That would be around $77.27. So nice little run area there for a target off of that level down there at about 73.68. So if anybody got in on that one, BC Port Corp was talking about it in the chat there. But the one thing that I want to show you, this is my cause for concern. And then OC can come back and tell me if he's seeing any weakness on his side. But it's right down here, guys. This is the hash rate ribbon, the hash ribbon for Bitcoin. It's the mining indicator, right? And you can see when these cross historically, we typically go into little periods of capitulation. Right there, went into capitulation. Right there, went into capitulation. Right there, went into capitulation. Guys, we're about to cross right now too, and even if we go down on lower time frames, there you might find a little bit of hope. You can see here it looked like it was going to cross, and it got a little bounce. That's when price came back up. Let me get that into play. There you go. Price went up. Right now, if I bring this into focus, you'll see we're kind of running on this parallel curve on the daily, but we need that to stay up. If that comes down on the daily at all, guys, that little line right there, there's not much deviation on the 5-day to keep us from crossing. I think eventually this is going to run the risk of being a crossover, sending us back into another period of capitulation that like we typically see back here, and price came down. We had it here, price went up. So it can go either way, really. But when you're looking at this on the 5-day, guys, definitely running that risk right now. You can see we had a cross here, came down a little bit lower, big sell off, and then came back up, and that's when it started into our whole really our whole period of lower lows came off of that. So I'm going to be watching that closely to see how this one plays out. But let's kick it back over to your chart, OC. Let's see what you're seeing, and then let's get some altcoins in. Guys, start dropping some alt requests there in the chat, and we'll take a look at those. I know one of them that someone asked for at the beginning of the show was Sui. So, OC, what do you got for us?
Absolutely. First, let me get to Bitcoin. I do agree with you. I do see weakness here, but at the same time, we are right on that line of make or break. Right. Here's the things, and let me bring out my spaghetti. So be prepared, guys. It's gonna be just a little bit complicated. Not much, I promise. Also, I was telling you guys that today I have an empty stomach or no stomach at all. Seems like I did not bring my. The other part of me got stuck into the wire while trying to jump over the fence. Right here, we can see a little bit of a formation here that we were talking about for a long time, right? This is a triangle. Guys, this is a pattern within a pattern, right? Another thing that we were talking about, this is a Wyckoff range, right? Remember that I was expecting a breakout or taking it short at the breakout of this trend line. Remember that the trend line is the most important line to measure trends, and this is a trend within a trend, right? So we broke it, we're going back, and remember where did I circle this, right? Remember where it was my final target, right here. Seems like between my circle and my final target, because we had order blocks right there, and also we had they're gone already. But let me see if I can bring them back. There we go. Because we have some order blocks right there that right now they had just moved downwards a little bit. And also because we had some predictive ranges at those points. Remember that I adjusted my area for a much accurate zone right here. All right. Now that we know that, it's not about the breakout, it's about the retest, and off we go, right? At this point, we are getting into a resistance or a support area. Are we going to be breaking back up? Are we going to be reaching other highs in here? If so, let's go to another analysis that I have prepared for you. Remember that I set up these two big wicks, right? The first big wick would have been this, sorry, not big wicks, big arrows right here. And I was expecting a possible early flip of the ribbon. Are we seeing it? It is too early to say, right? We need to see confirmation for this one. And if it does, well, then we're going to be drawing a new trend line like this. I would like, and this is what I would like, not a part of analysis. I would like for this to be a fake out to the upside and then run all the way down here to coincide with this trend line. This is going to be a much higher liquidity grabbing zone. That basically would tell us that the bounce from this zone is going to be major and it's going to be much more long lasting. This is what I want to see, this retracement for a healthy bounce, and then break and finally make a try to break through this downwards range. At this point, I don't know if we bounce from here. I don't know if we're going to be making a higher high. We could be going set for a double top or something like that. So for me, this is not healthy, not enough momentum grabbing zone, right? I wanted to go lower for it to recuperate its area. That's what I got on Bitcoin. Piper, you want to take over on Link and other stuff, or you want to take over and take a look at Sui?
I'm going to pass it over to TradeFly and see what he's seeing. We're taking a trip on the Soul Train. Is that what we're doing? You're muted. Hey, you're muted. It's like 80s sitcom in here.
Yeah.
Someone is doing push-ups. Twice of the push-ups that he does daily.
Don't you worry, baby. I got
someday,
you. I'm feeling so good. All right, Sui. I got that pulled up. I heard Sui, so I went ahead and pulled that up. Sorry, I didn't tell you guys in the chat in the background.
Word.
I was also trying to make Wick's wife Fine 89 a mod. So I was trying to do that in the background as well. So working some things. But Sui, all right, we had a pretty.
Hey, hold on before you do that. If you guys are wondering why there's so many blue wrenches in our chat, It is
We love
because
everyone.
we are a community and we believe that our community should have the ability to regulate itself. We are decentralized. We are a decentralized entity. So there you go. That's why there's so many
Decentralized
blue wrenches.
command. Let's
So if
go.
you guys come in here and you see all these blue wrenches and you go, why are there so many mods in this? It's because we are a decentralized community and we have the ability to regulate ourselves. So there you go. We don't have to ban people.
We
Our community
all
will take care of themselves.
we all are Negan. I mean, we all are Piper.
Yeah, we are Negan. Yes.
All right. Right on, right on. All right, so I got SUI pulled up. We're going to start on the daily. We'll work our way down a little bit. Looking at SUI on the daily, crazy move up, right? So really hard to predict that kind of move up and right. It's really kind of diverged from the rest of the market in a good way. It's been great. But when it did get up to the $2 level, two things you got to think about there. One, that's a psychological number, big round number where people will exit just based on it getting to $2. Like, you think about it. A lot of times when you look at these coins or these projects, what do you say? Well, if it just gets to $1, like, I'm going to make a lot of money. If it just gets to $2, I'm going to make a lot of money. And so what will people do? They'll exit at those numbers just blindly, not looking at the charts or anything else, just knowing that it has reached the number that they targeted. All right. So that is why I think you saw a bit of a pullback on SUI in the interim. All right. Psychological number. That's one of the things I'm really, really big on, is the psychology of the market. Now, what does that line up with on a horizontal level? Well, you do have horizontal resistance here. All right. Right across, you can see it pretty clear. You got to tap here. You got to tap here. So not too surprised that not only did we have a psychological number, but we also had an area of resistance that lined up on the chart. So we got a pullback. Where did we pull back to? Almost exactly to the 236. That is the power of the fib retracement, right? But what if you're like, hey, I missed this move. I really want to get into SUI. I'm pretty bullish on it, but where do I get in? Where do I fit in now? Well, there's an area I'll say to look at. And I will tell you, I've seen this over and over again. It's not always the project or the coin itself. It's the greater crypto market. So when you have those pullbacks, what you'll see with the altcoins a lot of times, they're going to pull back exponentially harder. When that happens, I'll say be waiting at the 0.5. All right. Not financial advice, take it for what it's worth. Why do I say the 0.5 at about $1.23 or so? Because what I'm expecting is that the moving averages are going to catch up with the price action. All right. You can see, look how hard they're starting to trend up and right. They're going at about a 45-degree angle. So what I am trying to project is where will they intersect with the fib retracement. I think 0.5 is that area. Okay. So I think your 200 is going to start pulling up. Your 50 is already working its way up. Your dynamic reactor is already working its way up. Confluence City, right? This is what we're going to look for, that at some point the market will pull back. I think SUI, is going to follow suit. It's not going to diverge forever. We've had this kind of euphoric move up and right already for SUI. And I'm not saying you can't re-explore all-time highs and, set a new all-time high. But even when you do, think about what happened to CAS. Think about what happened to some of these other meme coins recently. They still had pullbacks, right? A lot of them pulled back at the same time to the golden pocket. Now, the reason I don't say the golden pocket right now is because of what I said with all the confluence. I'm looking for that on the charts. And, do you get the best entry? Maybe not. Do you get a good entry? Yeah. So that's kind of why I'm looking at the 0.5. Again, that's at about $1.23. That's if you want to add to a long position and hold. Okay. This is a long term, like a swing trade. Okay. That's what I'm looking at there. In the interim, the 0.236, you had the trend line here on the daily as well. That kind of showed you that there was an opportunity for a bounce in the short term. But the thing that I don't like about that, if I was looking at this on the shorter time frames, not the shorter time, but the daily specifically, I'm looking at the RSI, the prime oscillator. That is bending down and right. It hasn't even tried to reset. It's not even trying to bend up and right now. So I think this is just kind of an incremental little bounce for SUI. We can look at it on the 4 hour, because sometimes the smaller time frames, so it did reset. So the 4 hour showing a little bit different story. I would still be careful here, right? Because now you're starting to build resistance with the 50, as well as the bottom part of this trend line. And I don't know how much. Yeah, actually, I would take that. I don't really care about this top one, but the bottom one, you can see that it was trending up and right. So it actually looks like we could get a retest of that trend, right? So you had it acting as support. There's now that opportunity that it could act as resistance as it comes up. So that would be very interesting. See how it interacts with that level. I'll give you a short-term time frame, and this one's very, very obvious. It's at about $2 because that psychological number. You got to work through that before I would get into a long position. What we want to see is the OC retest comes up. All right, we retest that. We make our move up. We retest all-time high. So that is kind of what I can look for SUI. But again, if you just want to position yourself and wait for price action to come to you, I'd say that's at the 0.5, and I believe that was at about $2.30. Was it? No, it wasn't $2. It was $1.23. There you go. So at about $1.23. Do we have any confluence there on the 4-hour? Not a whole lot. So it's showing you a lot of support, right? You got dynamic reactor, and that is held up. Let's go time. Look at the time here, September 24th. That's been support all the way up for this ride. It just looks like right now, like we're kind of flattening out, right? We got that trajectory going up and right, but now it looks like it's starting to flatten out a little bit. So could be losing a little bit of weakness, and that is symbolic of what you're seeing on the RSI on the daily. So there's a couple time frames for you guys, time frames and price points for you to look at on SUI. Ultimately, I would take kind of a wait and see approach because we've had such an exponential move up. To be perfectly frank with you, when we have these euphoric moves up, I'm a lot more likely to short than I am to long, unless we see something like this where we break a key level of resistance, we get a retest and look for continuation up and right. So that's where I'm at for SUI.
Awesome. I'm sitting here looking into the Discord at Mark Dutch's. Just dropping this in here. It says we are decentralized though. Crux of crypto. Alex O crypto is queen. I don't know. I don't know what's going on down there, man. I don't know. Let's go talk about this chart though, guys. I'm looking at Kaspa. We had a request for Kaspa, so let's take a look at that. So we do have a little pump here, and actually we got a good run off of this. Good indication that this was happening because despite our breakout here on the pattern, you can see the white pattern there that's auto printed by Chart Prime. It gives a smart target down here at about 13.3 cents. We look at here though, and we can see that we were way oversold. We got the uptrend. We pinged out on the bottom of the True 7 for upside move. Money flow started going up. I will point out that the volume is dropping though. So I actually think that if we get up here, this 200-day, that's the orange line, which is also the bottom of this pattern, this is going to be that retest before we come down to the smart target. So you can get into a quick scalp here. This is a 12-hour chart, so you can get a quick scalp up to that if you wanted to. However, I think that we are going to get the rejection back down, and that would be a better short than getting into a quick scalp on the long. That coming in at about 15.2 cents. If we come over here and we pull up the side-by-side, I want to show you a couple of things here. When we were hitting at 300, we pinged on my little side-by-side view in the blue there at the bottom as we're riding down. And I think I talked about this, that we were tightening last week. I said, look, we're tightening. This is probably going to ride down on the Bollinger Band. Last time that it touched the top, we got red on here. That was the top of this pattern perfectly. So there's that pattern on the left side there, on the top side there. That was the top of the chart pattern that was printing for that entire downside move. So the side-by-side strategy works great, guys. And we talk about this type of stuff in TA 101 in our Discord community. So make sure you guys get over there, check out the memberships and all the levels that go with that. Let's jump in and check out what we're seeing on lower time frames now. And I'll show you why I'm watching this level closely. And I'm thinking that if this hits, this is about in line with that 12-hour chart pattern. I'm watching this right here. The thing that I'm watching is that our current candle can't seem to break a continuation of the Heikin-Ashi here on the RSI primed. And it looks like we're starting to get a reversal down here to continue to the downside. The last time we had a tightening like this of the Bollinger Bands, guys, it was back here. And you can see we rode this all the way down to the 14-cent levels. Very possibly could be setting up again off of that tightening of the Bollinger Bands, in addition to a retest on that pattern that I just showed you on that 12 hours. So be watching close for that 200-day moving average at the bottom of the pattern, good retest level. Smart target on that is 13.3 cents at the bottom side. So Seeing some mixed messages here, different time frames. The lower time frame we go, the more bearish it's looking. So I do think we're going to see some more downside on Casper. Let's kick it over to OC, see what he's got, and then we'll come back, talk about one article. Got to drop the FUD today. You know, it can't be all bullish, but we're going to come back and talk about that article in just a second.
Absolutely. Let me get started with a couple of calls that I did yesterday. Yesterday, I was seeing a little bit of a movement on Link. I like to explore all of the different possibilities, right? I don't like losing. That's why I just always have plan A, B, and C. And depending on what happened, I will adjust my risk and also adjust my positioning. The first thing that I was looking at, there was a big confluence box here. It's not to be trusted, but let's move with caution here, right? So I knew that we have a big resistance, but also I knew that it wasn't to be trusted. Why? Because we have some disparity on the bearish side in here. So we were going to be acting as a weak resistance for the possible movement. Another thing that I was seeing, it seems like the cloud compression is getting high. A dramatic move is expected, right? And right here, usually the red ones are the most important ones. Also, danger, Will Robinson. This is a dangerous trade. We're looking for a confirmation of the rebound, breaking through the zero line to the downside to enter a short, right? And very important. If the rebound bounces off the zero line, we enter for a long at the price retest of the dynamic reactor. Let's take a look at what happened on that one. Remember, this is Link on the 15 minutes. Link on the 15 minutes. Here we go. The same drawing here. What happened? We had a breakout to the dynamic reactor. What happened? Did we activated the short? No, because we did not broke the zero line. So that short is not to be taken. Then what we do, we wait for the retest of the dynamic reactor. I was a little bit late on this entry, so I wasn't able to cut it as I was expecting, and I was doing other stuff, basically just eating and watching a movie, and my alert did not went off. So when I realized we were going up, so I would adjust for a little bit of a pullback in here and enter, following up my analysis. So far, at the end of this class, I'm going to be taking 50% out and moving my stop to entry, and then aiming for my next area of resistance, which is going to be somewhere around 400, which is going to be somewhere around 1130, and also maybe try to get a little bit more or an early profits on the secondary early profits right here at this purple line on the predictive ranges. That's what I got on Link, on the call that I gave on Link. Just a quick follow-up. We could be rolling over, going to the dynamic reactor. If you expect it to go back in, just remember that we have a bunch of divergences. So whenever we come back down here, just look for the rebound to actually make a flip up before you do enter, because we could be breaking back down. This is not an area. This is an area to be cautious in the market. Other than that, turning it back to you guys.
Awesome. Let's jump over. Let's take a look at this one article I got here, guys, because there is one piece of FUD today. We got to talk about it. You know, I wouldn't be the Piper Academy show if I didn't talk about all of the FUD of recession, right? So let's jump over here. Let's take a look at this. This article is talking about the Nifty 50. If you guys don't know what the Nifty 50 is, it is basically the S&P of the Indian stock market. And one of the things that I'm seeing here on it is a recession is imminent and favored tech stocks set to crater like the Nifty 50 did, according to a BCA research analyst. The rise and fall of the Nifty 50 stocks in the 1970s is a cautionary tale for investors in the Magnificent Seven craze. The Nifty 50 refers to a loose group of stocks, including Coca-Cola, IBM, Xerox, and Pfizer, that rose to prominence in 1970 to 1973 bull market. The Magnificent Seven may not be the reincarnation of the Nifty 50, but investors can learn from the past manias. Let's see here. Where is it at here? They have a piece in here I just wanted to touch. While the 1970s phenomenon may not be the exact blueprint of what's to come, concerns have emerged, including elevated profit growth expectations and valuations reaching new heights. Though we don't know if it fits the Magnificent Seven now or will at some later date, it almost certainly applied in the early 70s when too many investors became overly enamored by a small cadre of growth stocks and their future earnings perspectives. Let's talk about this real fast. Okay, so that's not the Nifty 50 from India. That is the Nifty 50 of a group of stocks in the 70s. I see that now. But anyway, they are using that narrative of 1970s Nifty 50 as the narrative for what we're seeing with the Magnificent Seven. With everything that has happened, there you go. With everything that has happened in the stock markets, do we think that the Magnificent Seven is safe, or is it overbought? Is it settled down a little bit now, or is it still way overbought and a big bubble? And if it does pop, is it big enough to crash the rest of the market? I would like to hear TradeFly's input and then OC's input. Let's just talk about that for a second on the way out.
Look, man, I'm going to be straight up with you. I was very distracted. I was comparing our height when we were next to each other. I was mixing it up in the chat. I'm going to defer to OC on this one. I was having my squirrel moment of ADD, and I wasn't paying attention to you at all. I got to be honest.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Here, it's a simple question. It's a simple question, TradeFly.
I heard Nifty 50. That's all I call it. And all
is the Magnificent Seven still overbought, or has it settled down? Do you think it's still at risk of being a bubble that could bring the rest of the markets down?
Let it pop, baby. Let it
pop, baby. Okay. OC, your thoughts?
Man, great that you answered that question, because I was right next to TradeFly. I did not catch that. So, oh man, that was a moment. I know. I didn't want just to
so much
you, TradeFly, to carry all the responsibility. I was also paying, like DMing right there. But now that you repeated the question, Piper, thank you very much.
Yeah.
And now I can tell you that.
All right.
I mean,
so much for intellectual debate at the end of the show. That's okay.
Yeah.
That's okay. We'll just keep
really
it simple,
excited.
guys. To the moon. We're going to the moon.
Too.
I predict XRP to $100, Cardano $10, Ethereum $14K, Bitcoin $500,000. There you go. I just threw out a whole bunch of prediction videos for you. That's all you need to do. Smash the like, share this video.
I almost got a tear out of that. That was good.
Okay, well, I guess we'll wrap it up here then.
This is why you guys tune into Piper, Ken. We were actively engaged,
Hey, I guess decentralized means there's no plan of content. That's it. That's all that means. Crypto Chef said no one is listening to Piper. I'm out of here. I don't need to be listened to. It's okay.
He's unsubscribing as we speak. That's I get it, man. I don't blame you, but the nightcap is good, so come on over there.
Well, that's what you're doing. You're trying to sabotage my show on the morning report so that your show becomes the number one show. I see what's going on here. I'm on to you. A to A said I'm clipping that. Clip it. Clip that. Share it. It's a new short. Piper made bold predictions today on the Piper Academy.
TradeFly, no F's to give, man. Sorry.
All right, fellas, let's get out of here.
Hey,
TradeFly, you got it.
We got 69 viewers right now. Let's go, baby. All right, click that
69.
Like
what is going on with you on Friday, bro? Jesus, can we get some sound effects from you today at least?
We can't actually, because I'm just using my external. So here we go. I'm all jacked up, bro. Sorry. Why do you even invite me?
That's all right.
Hey, I added Wix Wi-Fi 89 as a moderator.
I saw that.
I got that figured out. So hey, I did something. And shout out to my man In and Out Crypto. Yeah.
Nice. I've been saving this sound effect for a moment like this. So TradeFly, I'm so sorry, my friend. You were like, let me know that, Piper, and things that I don't care. What were you saying?
You said what? All right, let's get out of here. TradeFly, give these people an outro, man. What do you got for them?
All right, everybody. Well, we just went off the rails pretty hard, but I hope you guys enjoyed that. It looks like you did. Saw a lot of emojis in the chat laughing. So, hey, we try to have a good time here as well. It's not all just seriousness about crypto. So that being said, you guys have a great weekend. Trade safe. We gave you some important levels to look at, some key levels to mark on your charts there. So we did do a little bit of our job. We just didn't bring the debate at the end. I'm sorry about that. That's my fault. I have ADD moments. But that's because I'm trying to actively engage with you guys. So that's kind of what I do in the background as we're kind of doing some of the other stuff. I try to keep it going, keep the flow going. So love you guys very much. Have a great weekend. We will see you next Monday. I'm out.
OC, what you got for the people, man? Because we got a lot more viewers than likes today. I'm just saying. So,
step it up,
man, guys, you need to click that like button. Guys, thank you so much for joining. Quick reminder that you should absolutely click that like button, because if you do, remember that fishing gear that you did not tell your wife that you bought? You remember that golfing gear, Alex O, that you did not tell your wife that you bought? Well, click the like button and nobody will know. All right,
ever.
So click it right there. ever. And if they notice, they said, "OC, send it to me. I'll back you up. Promise." But click that like button.
Nice. OC's like, that was a gift to him like a year ago.
Yeah.
Love it. Guys, thanks for joining us here today on the Morning Market Report. All the chaos that is news and the chaos that is my teammates that I bring on with me every day. But we'll continue to do it because it's fun and it's great. You guys make it that way. So we'll be back here Monday morning with the Good Morning Crypto, and then also back at 9:30. Remember, we got data coming out next week that is important all over again, guys. So we're going to be looking at all of that next Monday morning, 9:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, bringing you guys the news, the economy, the charts, the markets, everything. You need to have knowledge, because knowledge is profit. Remember, trade safe this weekend. And we are getting a little bit of a pullback again. We are sitting back below that 100-day simple moving average. So if you are trading today, guys, remember, trade safe, use a stop loss. And if you're not using the stop loss, Al Jr., make sure you got plenty of dry powder so that you can buy those entry levels even to a better position, guys. We'll catch you guys this next Monday. Have a great weekend. Go out, touch grass, spend time with family. I just want to point one thing out before we go. I heard this morning that the people that were affected by the hurricane in North Carolina and Tennessee said that the only reason they made it through all of this all the bad stuff going on was because of their neighbors and their community, not the federal government. Guys, remember, build a community. They're the only ones that have your back, and that's why we're all here. I love the community. You guys rock. We'll catch you guys Monday. Have a great weekend.
I don't know what they keep telling me. Ain't no school like Piper Academy. We'll keep that front line covered, even when we're dead and gone. We'll find a way to keep going, cause we gon' keep on rolling after wheels flow low. I know you hungry for knowledge, that's profit appetite. Classes in session, this for the Army Piper acolytes. Trade flag at the soul, train ready. What a line from OCI, form a Mexican spaghetti. Yo, crunch crypto with a deep dive to reject dime. And if you like the visual powered by Car Prime, then you were part of that not a source spine. But if you have, step fall back to offline. We'll keep that front line covered, even when we're dead and gone. We'll find a way to keep going, cause we gon' keep on rolling after wheels flow low. Sound off.
To get with them, the ZTS rhythm. Alexandra.